Today we are going to pull a card from each one of these decks to get information about what requests Spirit has of you at the time you view this video. So we're actually going to start with the Divine Feminine Oracle, and we're going to get clarifiers from the Prism Oracle and from the Abstract Futures Tarot deck. So we'll start here with the Divine Feminine Oracle. Give me one moment to move the cards. Okay. Requests from Spirit. Ooh, it's this one right here. Ooh, 2, 3. Okay. I guess we'll take 3. Requests from Spirit at the time you view this video. So we're going to start with these 3 beautiful cards. We have the Joy Permeated Mother, the Joy Permeated Mother. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. The Goddess of Devotion. I am love that doesn't leave. When I commit to love, my soul evolves. And the Goddess of Sanctuary. No matter where I am home. The most sacred sanctuary, the most sacred sanctuary is found within me. Those are really beautiful cards. Okay, let's get some clarifiers. So, a clarifier or 2, please. Clarify these 3 main cards. Success came out. And then one more clarifier. That was quick. Ooh, 2 of them. 6 of Cups upright and 3 of Pentacles in reverse. So the first thing that's coming to me is I'm really noticing the orangey golden plus red coloring. So the orangey golden colors that are kind of showing up here with the Success card, the 6 of Cups, and the Goddess of Sanctuary. So the first thing that's coming to me is orange is the color of the sacral chakra. So the sacral chakra is an energy center that's located right below your belly button. And it is the energy center that holds, or is kind of the director of things like freedom, desire, flow, abundance. And I just find it interesting that it's like coming up. So we have that orange, but then it's also like going here into like this golden light. So in this card here, the Goddess of Sanctuary, she's encompassing that the golden light plus the like red embers. Do you know what I mean? And red is your root chakra. That's like foundational to how we get our needs met as physical humans. So what's coming to me as it's all kind of like visually hitting me, this kind of flow, it just feels like this. I don't know if that makes sense. But I think how it's like going into golden is then to me representing more of the crown chakra. So there's something here about like alchemizing because root chakra and sacral chakra are more like lower level chakras. And that doesn't mean they're not as important. They're just like literally lower in your body. And also I think of lower level chakras as more like foundational, almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Are you familiar with that? Like where we can't move towards self-actualization if some of our basic level needs aren't met. And so I'm almost feeling that, like, I'm almost feeling Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like, there's like the top one, which is like self-actualization, which is like the crown chakra energy I'm getting, with the bottom 2. Again, bottom doesn't mean less, but that's like your root chakra. So how are you getting your physical needs met? And how are you getting like above that, which would be more of your sacral chakra, this flow? How is flow happening in your life? And so there's something here about being an alchemist. There's also something here about integration. Oh my gosh. Okay. So right before I did this reading, there was a toad sitting outside on my compost bucket. And I was like, I think that's for the first reading. So I looked it up and I was like, well, if these themes come up, it might be. But now that I said integration came out of my mouth, I am going to read that for you, the toad symbolism. Because I think there's something here about like the more you can integrate and alchemize, you are going to be able to like merge heaven and earth is like what's coming. But I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but I hope you understand what I mean. Like the crown chakra with the more root level, base level chakras, there's an integration with that happening. So okay, here's where I want to start. I want to start with the toad symbolism, and then we're going to read more about the goddess of sanctuary, and then we'll look into some of these clarifiers. So give me one moment. Let's look up the toad here. Okay. It's a good time to withdraw into solitude and contemplate emotional or spiritual matters. You'll have an opportunity to review and clear some uncomfortable emotional issues from the past. This is an opportunity to contact your most primal instinctual self. Interesting. The part of you that's the seed of any new personal or spiritual growth. This is a volatile period of personal change, one where you'll feel unsettled and fragmented, yet one in which a whole new you will emerge, feeling more integrated and whole. You have much more available to you in terms of skills, experience, and inner strength than you are aware of. Wow. Okay, so a couple things. Like, isn't that interesting? This is opportunity to contact your most primal instinctual self, which to me is like, that feels like root chakra, sacral chakra. Like that's, again, root level chakras, base level chakras. Those are like very instinctual chakras. And then it basically says it right here, like that there is like the part of you that's the seed of any new personal or spiritual growth. So there's like, I'm almost getting like the yin yang. So like, you know how there's, what am I trying to say? There's like the purpose of that symbol is there's always potential for light and darkness, and there's always potential for darkness and light. So what I'm getting with that here is almost like there's potential for deep spiritual healing and insight in your instinctual root level experiences. Do you know what I mean? So like within your root chakra and your sacral chakra, there, even though that's more like human-y stuff, there's also potential by exploring that to have some deep, deep spiritual insights. And on the same, in the same vein, there's like, within the deep, within the crown chakra, within the deep spiritual work, there's potential to change things tangibly in terms of our physical needs and physical experience. And it's that integration that I believe is wanting to happen. And maybe if we take this, like, so what the intention of this reading is, what is the request from Spirit for you at the time you find this video? And it seems to have to do with becoming whole. So realizing that the goal is integration, not fragmentation from your physical self. So let me put that a little different way. So it's like so a lot of times I think when we're spiritual seekers, sometimes we can undervalue our physical experience. But I think what wants to be said is actually maybe overvalue it right now, or to you what feels like overvaluing it, because there is a wholeness that wants to happen. So instead of like fragmenting, like, oh, I'm a spiritual seeker, I'm a spiritual being, so then nothing really in the physical matters, there's a bringing together that really, really wants to happen. And that's like the image I'm getting right now. It's like I'm seeing light swirling in from the top of your head all the way down your chakras, meeting up with your root level chakras. And I'm almost seeing like that energy going all the way down out your tailbone into Mother Earth, all the way to the root. And then the root level energy is swirling up, going out your crown chakra all the way to the center of the sun. It's like so with that being said, before I get ahead of myself, I think maybe if that resonates, doing that visual a few minutes a day where you just sit quietly with yourself, close your eyes, see the energy of the sun, which is a symbolism for just spiritual energy, right? Going through your body, cleansing out and making your energy centers, all 7 of them in your body, more robust. Then going all the way down into Mother Earth, letting any debris, quote unquote, of energy go into Mother Earth. Mother Earth can compost that. And then seeing it come up the other way. And the same thing, letting that go up to the sun, letting the sun energy symbolically compost, dissolve, whatever you want to say that. Oh, I'm seeing a sun right there. So I think there's like something, yeah. So I think that visual could just help with this integration process. Literally retraining your body and your psyche to be more integrated, but also just as a reminder to yourself of the power of integration in this season, at the time that you are viewing this. Okay, so let's read about her, the goddess of sanctuary. Where is my book? Give me one moment, please. Oh goodness, I lost my book. There it is. Okay. The goddess of sanctuary. No matter where I am home. The most sacred sanctuary is found within me. Who she is. Hestia represents the warmth, protection, and sanctuary we feel when we know we are home. Hestia is an ancient Greek goddess of the hearth. Her name translates as fireplace or altar. Oh, isn't that interesting? Because that's just beautiful imagery. That I was definitely getting the embers feeling from this card. So that's what was intended. Here, I'll put this in front so you can see it a little more. Put it right here for now. Okay. She is the firstborn daughter of Cronus and Rhea. Her brother Zeus assigned Hestia the sacred position of tending to the Olympian hearth. She is known for her calm, abiding presence and her tremendous kindness. In ancient Greek culture, Hestia is the divine personification of the sacred fire that sits at the center of someone's home, as well as the center of our own town and village. Well, isn't that interesting? Because that's sort of the integration that we're speaking of, right? Like instead of this fragmentation, it's like getting to the center of things, allowing both energies to reach the center and go through, and then allowing it to integrate. Do you know what I mean? So it feels similar to me in some regard. So let's keep going here. She would receive the first and last sacrifices of each day. With the establishment of a new village, the flame from Hestia's public hearth in the mother city would be carried to the new home. Hestia is the fire that grounds up. Whoa. Hestia is the fire that grounds up. I didn't think I read that right, but isn't that interesting? That's almost like what was coming through with the core of the earth and like that Mother Earth energy going up through you and then out the top of your head. Like, doesn't that feel like that grounds up? Do you know what I mean? Which is a weird, because usually we're grounding down, right? So isn't that interesting? Oh, weird. Oh, I read that wrong. Hestia is the fire that grounds us, it says. Okay, so that makes more sense. But there's a reason I kept seeing up. I swear it said up. That's bizarre. Okay, so that has to be what there's a I feel like your request from spirit is actually being willing to ground up. Do you get what I mean? Like that exact visual where you're grounding down with spiritual energy, but grounding up with that Mother Earth energy, but allowing it to impact your spiritual life. So allowing your physical life, your physical body, your physical needs to actually inform and impact your spiritual endeavors and your spiritual insights and your spiritual practices. Wow, that was bizarre. Okay, I'll reread it. Hestia is the fire that grounds us. The hearth we can gather around to stop our wondering and wandering. Hestia is the emblem of of warmth, safety, and nourishment of being in community. She represents that tangible yet unseen connection between all of our loved ones, and she's the calm, abiding presence that only can be found within. Well, there's paradoxes here too, because she's about community, but then she's also about like being at home with yourself. Do you know what I mean? So again, this feels like that integration idea, that wholeness idea, where both can be true. You know, integration kind of to me is almost like both can be true. Both can be true. It's important to have community, and it's important to be at home with yourself in solitude. Both can be true. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's almost like maybe another way of putting this is you're being asked, what's your request from spirit? You're being asked to not think of life in such binary ways. Like it's either physical or spiritual. It's either community or other people. It's either this or that, right? And there's a request from spirit that you begin to think in like both and, like both can be true, sort of ways. And like as that's coming up, if there's healing that you're doing, especially maybe around relationships, that's a place where like both can be true a lot. You know, like both can be true. I really care for this individual and it's time for me to let them go. Both can be true. I really appreciate this about this individual and they really hurt me in this particular way. Both can be true. Does that make sense? Okay, let's keep going. When your soul selects her card, Hestia created the concept of sanctuary. It's considered a sacred obligation to shelter and protect those in need. She wants us to seek those situations that allow us to feel a sense of being home, and she wants to create that form of sanctuary for someone else. Of all the wild and crazy adventurous Greek gods and goddesses, Hestia is the most drama-free. She's the one who can be counted on, the one who fosters community and provides stability of food, warmth, and shelter when all else is coming undone. She's your grandmother goddess. She's the energy that whispers for you to just get cozy. Hestia wants you to be 1,000 legions easier on yourself. Oh, isn't that nice? Put a blanket over your body, curl up with a hot cup of tea, sit before the fire of all that you've accomplished, and give your mind a break from all you ask of yourself. Hestia wants you to let kindness pervade your thoughts. She wants you to light a small fire at the center of yourself and feel safe in calling your body home. She wants you to be able to seek sanctuary within. She wants you to come home to yourself and to give yourself the love that you effortlessly offer others. Hestia is the call to become the calm harbor for your beautiful soul to thrive. Isn't that interesting too? That also kind of feels like that integration of spiritual and physical. Hestia is the call to become the calm harbor for your beautiful soul to thrive. Wow, that is really beautiful. I just feel calmer thinking of her and looking at her card. Soul voice meditation, and am I a safe place to be? Intention. No matter where I am home. The most sacred sanctuary is found within. Wow. That's beautiful. So let's look at some of these clarifiers. Just deciding where to start here. I feel like Hestia is at the center of this. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Wow, this is a juicy and complex reading in the best way possible, but let me see if I can put some simple words to the energy that I'm feeling. I guess let's start with the flowers. Like, look at these flowers. They're incredible, aren't they? They're beautiful and they're dangerous. Like, all of those are spikes. I had to wear gloves when cutting and arranging them. And so there's something here that is like, there's like paradoxes galore here. There's complexity. There's like a request to think in a non-binary way. There's a request to integrate and think holistically. So, okay, let me give you a little more information about what's coming through with the cards. So as I put out the cards in this way, I felt like the clarifiers actually started to clarify the particular cards, if that makes sense. So success clarified the joy permeated mother. Oh, and this is not the Six of Cups. I apologize. It's the Four of Cups. I have kind of a hard time with Roman numerals, if I'm being honest. So the Four of Cups is clarifying the goddess of sanctuary. Three of Pentacles in reverse is clarifying the goddess of devotion. So there's a lot going on here. So we started with the goddess of sanctuary. So we started with the toad. There was talks there about integration. We started with that visual of of integrating many aspects of your life, but specifically spiritual and physical. Now we come here, and there's to all these cards is what I'm saying. And there's definitely like this holistic aspect. So there's information coming about your entire life, or I should say many aspects of life. And so there's a request here, I think, at the beginning or near the beginning. We've already spoken out a lot, but in terms of looking at the cards, there's a request to broaden out a bit. I think what's been happening is there's been like a fixation. There's been like a narrowing in different areas of your life, whether that be with your time, money, or attention, whether that be with trying to solve a problem, so on and so forth. So there's been fixations into different areas, whether it might just be like I'm fixated on my spiritual path and then neglecting other areas. So there's a request to broaden out, broaden out, broaden out, broaden out, to see bigger, to see more holistically, to see the whole picture, to see complexities, to see seeming paradoxes, and to start to see to start to see less in binary ways and more in holistic, non-binary ways. Now, what the joy permeated mother is speaking about, and I thought it was interesting, as we read about with the goddess of sanctuary, they talked about how she's like a goddess grandmother, and you have then the mother energy coming out. So goddess grandmother is bringing you in her arms at her hearth of warmth, right? And goddess mother is asking you to know who you are. Do you know what I mean? So they have a little different energy. So there was we started with the holding energy. And now goddess mother, the joy permeated mother, is like success will come in any area of your life the more you know who you are. Does that make sense? So there's like a request for self-discovery with self-discovery with a holistic lens on. So instead of maybe a more fixated self-discovery, like I got to figure out who I am with in regards to this, that, or the other thing, it's more like self-discovery with a more holistic lens. Now with Four of Cups clarifying the goddess of sanctuary, one way to interpret the Four of Cups is a request to reevaluate things. So cups can represent emotional tasks and emotional fulfillment. And there is definitely an energy here of just a request to reevaluate certain things. And I don't think it's it doesn't have to be a heavy request. I think it can be really light and kind and warm of again, just expanding out, looking at things with a more holistic lens, and looking at things also with just trying to label things accurately. Does that make sense? So there's a reevaluation kind of taking, and there's this energy of just kind of teasing out that is coming to me. There's a metaphor that is often used, and that's in the healing world, where when you're doing healing on any level, it can often feel way too complex and tedious and long and hard. And it's almost the metaphor is when you have a bunch of necklaces tangled and you have to tease them out, right? But then suddenly you have one necklace and you're you can see it and it's a necklace and you can hang it up and it never has to get tangled up again, right? So there's that's coming through with this card. Can you tease out? Can you reevaluate? Can you, again, expand out? Look a little more clearly, put on some different lenses so you can start to label things more accurately. You can hang that necklace up. You can see that necklace. Again, that necklace never has to get tangled, because I think there's some untangling that may need to happen with your energy, Like that might be the request from spirit too. I mean, there's many ways to put this energy into words, but it's like, would you be willing to do some untangling? And that tangling isn't your fault. I think everybody is tangled up here currently on planet Earth. I think that's the name of the game here on planet Earth. I think we came in as humans, we were willing to get all tangled up by the dysfunctions of our culture, the dysfunctions of our subculture, so on and so forth. Okay, so we have these energetic tangles, right? And then at some point there's a request to reevaluate, a really kind request, a request that's coming from like, I'm going to hold you. A request that's coming from like, this is going to provide more warmth and home energy for yourself and others. But that request is, can you untangle? Can you reevaluate? And as you do that, as you're untangling all these layers of energetic cords, you get to more and more discover who you actually are, the self that never changes. And that then gets to lead to success in any area of our life. Now let's talk about the goddess of devotion, because there's a very interesting message coming through here with this card, clarified by the Three of Pentacles in reverse. And oh my gosh, and look at the colors playing off of these flowers. So it's interesting that we talked about the flowers, because I do think that energy that we talked about with the flowers, how this is beautiful and dangerous, is coming through here with these two combinations, with the goddess of devotion clarified by the Three of Pentacles in reverse. And what's coming to me is, again, another paradox, which is sometimes so the energy of devotion has many different forms. And sometimes a devotion to love is actually a letting go. Because Three of Pentacles can represent like a successful collaboration, right? And we talked a lot about community here with the goddess of sanctuary, didn't we? And so this massive paradox is speaking to me with these two cards. And it really is seeing devotion. Again, there's this request to not see things so binary. So when it comes to devotion, when it comes to love, it's saying like, okay, it literally says there, I'm a love that doesn't leave. So instead of seeing that as like you literally don't let anybody or anything go, seeing it from a bit more mature, I don't know if mature is the right word, but hopefully you understand what I mean. Like, it's not devotion to the highest good, devotion to love, devotion even to loving someone in particular doesn't always have to mean staying. It can mean, wow, I'm recognizing that by letting you go, I'm actually liberating you and myself. Do you know what I'm saying? So there is definitely, that's why when I got these cards out, I was like, wow, this is like a complex, beautiful reading, because there is definitely just like paradoxes speaking here. And it's so interesting because I was not going to use these flowers today. And then it just kept coming through. Like, these are the ones to use for this one. And I was like, I wonder if there's a message there. And I think it's just like these flowers beautifully display the message. And it is like a paradox from Mother Nature, beauty and danger. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at me, but don't touch me. And so there's just like this massive call to be willing to see things in less binary ways, to be willing to hold paradoxes of life, to be willing to hold complexities of life, to be willing to hold complexities of yourself, to be willing to work through different layers and levels of yourself to get to the more true you. And there's like another one of the paradoxes is like this is tough, right? This is tough to come to terms with the fact that devotion doesn't always mean staying. Do you know what I mean? And you're held in that. Do you get what I mean? And then as I say that, it's like you're held in that. This is one of the kindest cards in the deck, right? And you're being asked to reevaluate things. From this kind energy, you're being asked to look at yourself and your life in different ways, which isn't always easy. So there's like a paradox with this one that like kindness isn't always the easiest, most comfortable route. Do you know what I mean? Finding your home isn't always easy. And I think there's like a beautiful paradox in this one with the joy permeated mother and success, where like in our culture, we don't think that joy can lead the way and that our true self can lead the way towards success. We're really fearful of that, right? We give a lot of our power away. We often think, I actually being not joyful is a sign that you're on the successful route, right? You're like paying your dues or something like that. So there's like a paradox here of just like, maybe that's not true. And maybe holding this paradox more of like, the more joyful I feel, the more successful I'm becoming, regardless of how certain things look in the short term, could be really helpful. So I just think, wow, you're like a really cool individual. Because this is just like a cool reading. I don't know how to put concrete words to the abstract, cool energy I'm feeling, but I feel like more than even a request, it's almost like a permission slip. That's what once comes through. It's almost like a permission slip from spirit to see the nuances of life, to see the gray areas, to look at things less binary, to look at things more holistically, and to reveal to allow the healing. But then I think it's also like to reveal just like the coolness of who you are. Do you know what I mean? You're going to get to unlock more of your cool aspects when there isn't such harsh lines being drawn in your own mind. And there is the safety net of kindness and warmth, and here's another paradox, not just the safety net of kindness and warmth, but also like the North Star of that's where you're going. You want to feel at home with yourself. You want to feel in sanctuary with yourself. And from that place, you want to then be able to create communities that feel like you're in home, or create or attract communities to you where you feel like you're at home and where you can provide that feeling for others. So it's really so beautiful. I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. Good luck teasing out the information that was intended for you in this reading. But thanks so much for allowing me to do this reading. It was really a cool one to be with.